You guys probably noticed it has the auto rev match, which is definitely a huge positive. And just listen to the car. Sounds so nice. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, we're gonna be going over a 2020 Ford Mustang Bullitt edition. First and foremost, so a huge shout out and thank you to the Performance Truck Country here in Bountiful for giving me some time with this Bullitt. I'm gonna include a link to their inventory in the description down below. If you're wondering, this one is for sale. It's got about 20,000 miles on it roughly. So reach out to them if you're interested. Let's get into the video. So under the hood, we have a naturally aspirated 5-liter V8 that goes through a 6-speed manual transmission. Power outputs are 480 horsepower and then 420 pound-feet of torque. And I love how it says Bullitt there at the top, and then you guys can also see the air intake down below. But yeah, definitely a beautiful looking setup. So since I've reviewed quite a few Mustangs, I just want to focus on the things that are special to the Bullitt package. So first off, this one has the special green paint. You could also get it in black as well, but obviously the green's a little bit more striking. And sorry, this isn't the best lighting, but I'll try to capture a few different angles. Definitely a color you have to see in person. Looks really good on the Mustang. And then you guys can see with the front end, you've got all of the performance goodies. And when I see performance goodies, you've got the aggressive front splitter and just the more aggressive looking front fascia. Now moving from that to the side here, you've got these special wheels that come with the Bullitt package. It also comes with Brembo brakes. But notice that it's kind of more of a retro type design, from the coloration to the fact that you've got the larger spokes as well. And then you can see again that continues to the rear of the Bullitt. And then next thing, notice that you've got the Bullitt logo instead of the Mustang horse on the back. And you guys can see everything else with the rear end. And then don't worry, we will get an exhaust clip a little bit later on. And I do want to mention this car's in really good condition. It looks pretty much brand new, which is definitely nice. Also the chrome accenting around the windows. It's kind of another detail. Now the next thing that is special this package is, notice here with the stitching, it is green to match the exterior paint color. And then you have another Bullitt plaque right there. And then also the ground effects. And then notice with the Recaro seats, Recaro is again green. And you guys can kind of see the perforated leather all throughout. And then also the stitching on the side here, also green. Have the nice premium pedals. Just decided I'd show those to you guys. But let's actually pop in. And again, it's a manual, which is great. 21,327 miles to be exact. Notice we have the old school shifter here, which is really notchy, but again, that's another part of the package. And then right there, again, with the Bullitt, and then again, the green stitching there on the dash, also part of the package. And then you guys can see this comes with a full digital gauge cluster, which depending on the drive mode you're in, will change how everything looks. But notice everything is in green, again, with the Bullitt package. So I think that is all nice and fun. And then also, you know, front and center with the steering wheel, again, you've got Bullitt right there. But yeah, that's pretty much all the special stuff that comes with the Bullitt package. It's pretty much a fully loaded Mustang. So you have the Bang & Olufsen sound system, the nice infotainment system, the digital gauge cluster, and then you obviously get some special goodies that come along with it that kind of make it feel a little bit more retro themed. And yeah, with all that being said, if you want the most up-to-date pricing, again, check out their website. Let's take it out and see how it drives. Well, let's talk about visibility before we set off. And first off, we got to pop this over into the Sport Plus mode, because that's the mode to be in. There's your visibility with the hood. It does have a longer hood, just like every Mustang. Visibility through both the mirrors, and they do have blind spot. And then throughout the rest of the rear. And wow, I love that shifter. Let's set off. We are setting off here in the Bullitt Mustang. And first off, the thing I want to mention is this car is actually very comfortable to drive. And you guys probably noticed it has the auto rev match, which is definitely a huge positive. And just listen to the car. Sounds so nice. The shifter is so notchy as well. It's just a really good experience. And the exhaust, and again, it's got auto rev match, so you don't have to do anything. Car will just do it for you. I love, you get little pops out of the exhaust, and it just sounds so good. I actually really like the full digital gauge cluster. I think it looks really cool, and it kind of just adds the overall effect. Track mode's definitely the mode to be in, though. I think this looks the coolest because it just has that like racetrack feel to it, basically. Steering though is relatively heavy. Get a good amount of feel through it. Oh yeah, those rev matches, perfect. Oh man, the sounds that you get out of this 5-liter naturally aspirated V8. Yeah, it's so good. And obviously you guys will notice with the turn signal, because this has the sequential turn signal, it goes very slow with the arrow because, well, it's got to go through all of the lights. Fun Mustang thing. Now, something I want to see is obviously kind of like just normal practical car stuff here. So I'm going to turn to this parking lot because I have to loop around anyways. This kind of shows you guys my driving route, I suppose. And this will actually show you guys how easy this is to do daily driver stuff, I suppose. So yeah, I do have to angle it quite a bit so you don't scrape. Also, the clutch is pretty dang heavy for a Mustang. I'm used to Mustang clutches being super light. This one definitely has some weight to it, which I'm not complaining about because I feel like I get a little bit more feel here with this clutch since it's got a little bit of weight. That rev match is so nice into first gear. It just makes it so that I don't have to do like anything. You pretty much don't have to even, like normally when you go into first gear, you gotta, you know, feather the throttle a little bit. Because this has that rev match where it just jumps up the RPMs to where it's supposed to be in first gear, you don't have to do that. You can pretty much just go into first gear. Gonna keep it there for just a second while we make our turn here. Yeah, I love the steering feel. Gosh, it's so good. It's like the perfect amount of power. You can actually use it. You can actually have fun with it, but you're not gonna get to crazy illegal speeds. I think that's definitely a huge positive with this car. With, you know, the GT500 or, you know, a Hellcat or a Camaro Z01, you can't do that. You can't, you know, go through, well, the GT500 doesn't have a manual, but the Z01 and the Hellcat, you can get a manual, and you can't go through the gears like this. Like this, I can actually, like, look, second, like, yeah, that's pretty fast, but I mean, if I'm on the highway, you go from third into fourth, you can actually use the gearbox, and it's a really good gearbox. Like, the shifter is so perfect, just super notchy, and I really like ball shifters. I think that's just the right feel for a shifter because it just like perfectly fits in my hand, and I don't know, I just think that's how it's supposed to be. But that being said, yeah, I think that they've just nailed it from a power perspective, from a balance perspective. Like, the steering feels really good, and again, it's got like this nice directness to it, even though you can feel there's a ton of weight in the front end, but you can actually kind of feel what's happening with the car. And yeah, I think it's just a great experience overall. Man, this never gets old. It sounds so cool. If I actually roll down the windows a little bit so you guys can get a little bit of exhaust. Yeah, it's just such a good sounding car. It's just, I don't know, it's just pure in a sense. So I guess we'll get into summing things up here with the Bullitt Edition Mustang. So first off, exterior aesthetics, I mean, it's a green Mustang, so I think it looks cool. I like it. And the Bullitt badge, right, that kind of differentiates it compared to other Mustangs. Interior wise, again, same thing. It's got the Bullitt badges on the steering wheel, and so it has that kind of special feel because of that, especially the shifter. The shifter is really nice, and I understand that you could just pop, you know, a ball shifter on any Mustang, but still it just has a special feel to it, and it kind of has that old school feel as well. Clutch, like I said, it's kind of heavy for a Mustang, but I like that. I think it's the right balance for the car where you actually get a little bit of feel. And then the transmission's super notchy, like I said, and this car's really easy to drive. Like at low speeds, it's kind of a little bit, takes a second, but it's just because the clutch is just super, like I said, super heavy, so it takes a second to get used to. But once you get used to it, it's pretty easy. But once you're up and moving, seriously, between the rev match with the downshifts and all that fun stuff, it's a pretty easy and seamless experience. And you could definitely daily drive one of these very easily. So I guess I have to give the Bullitt a score, and I'm gonna compare this to the Mach 1 because I drove that too, and I'm gonna say I like this. I don't like it as much as the Mach 1. So the Mach 1 is like a 10 out of 10. This, however, is like 9.5 out of 10. It's almost there, but the Mach 1, the extra goodies it has on the outside that make it look a little bit cooler, and then just how that drives just a little bit nicer than the Bullitt. But this is still a really cool car, and this is gonna be a lot more reasonable from a price perspective than a Mach 1 is gonna be. So it's kind of like you got to pick and choose from that perspective. So I guess if you want the best bang for your buck, Bullitt right now. But if you want like the cooler one, Mach 1, and I guess we also have to compare this to the Shelby GT350 because some people also be throwing that into the bunch, even though those have gone up in value a crazy amount post-COVID. I would say that I like the fact this feels more modern than the Shelby, like with the gauge cluster. Infotainment system's the same, but yeah, the gauge cluster obviously feels a lot more modern. So I kind of like that. Obviously the engine isn't as crazy as that flat plane crank V8, but this still sounds really good. You actually get low end torque. It feels usable and everything. So I guess I got to redo the ratings. So the GT350 is like a 10 out of 10. The Mach 1's a 9.5, and this is like a 9. So yes, this is technically in last place, but also it's like the best value because it's the least expensive out of the bunch. So you just got to kind of decide what you want. And I would rather have this over a GT, like a regular GT, even a fully loaded GT. I'd rather have this because of like the special fields, like the shifter and all the Bullitt stuff. And like the transmission feels way better. Everything feels nicer on this. It just feels like a better car. Now that's gonna sum things up for our video on this 2020 Ford Mustang Bullitt Edition. Again, a huge shout out and thank you to Performance Truck Country for giving me some time with the Mustang. Check out their inventory and link below. I'll see all of you in the next video.